Well, good morning. Yep, it's I, Grandpa Peter Coyote, coming to you again from our studios here in Crestone, Colorado, U.S. of A. Or what used to be the U.S. of A. Still seems like it here. But in some places it don't. You know, I don't often admit my real age. I kind of keep that hidden from folks. I tell them I'm 305 or 812 or something like that. So, you know, I'm making a tiny bit of a revelation right here today. At 64 years ago, this little tiny baby about that big made his way into this life. And that was me. December 7th, 1947. And I was promised, before I even came here, that I would live to see the day that there was peace on earth. That we would transition this place from a state of ugliness to a state of supreme beauty, where everyone was happy and all could feel the love in all life and share it. It's a beautiful dream, but we knew the difficulties in this lifetime too, because of what was at stake here would be difficult and extreme. And boy, my life has been every bit of that. And then some. You can read a little bit about it in this book that I've written under a pen name called Coyote Bear. The book's called The Atomic Bum. B-U-M. The Atomic Bum. Which means the atomic hobo. Which means the hobo of the heart. The dude, the good dude. Roaming around the earth and between the worlds, wondering what on earth it is that we should do. Getting there, it's a process. Kids, I started early. You know, a lot of you coming in now are what we'd call the meek, the ancient wise ones that have come to inherit the earth. And the fact that you're being born and have been born the last 15, 20 years tells us that we're well on our way, because you wouldn't be here as babies if this weren't true. And God, we love you, and we're here as a generation, a few generations actually, to hand it to you on a silver platter, the paradise of the Mother Earth, by shedding this abject reality, so-called, that we live in. That's been the promise. That's been what's got me through. Because babies, when I hit age 18, I blessed the ground I walked on. I couldn't believe it. That I had actually lived to see my 18th birthday, let alone my 64th now. But 18. I had been dead twice that I know of, or I can remember. Out of the body, dead, before I hit that age, 18. And I'd met Mother Mary and the angels. Not just this little kid, little Utah kid. I didn't know about such things, but there they were, and guided me through this death and dying process and brought me back to life. Twice before I hit 18. And that's not to mention all the many encounters with death I had in between. I was born and raised on a farming and ranching operation with a trucking business on the side. we were very busy, and there was lots of machinery coming and going, and you know, this stuff is dangerous. And I remember at my dad's funeral, one of my brothers got up and talked about what a miracle it was that any of us, and there were 12 of us, I'm number 8 of 12, what a miracle it was that any of us had lived to tell about it. All the close calls. Why, one time I was coming off the mountain in a coal truck. That's what we did in the winter. We hauled coal, because that's what people used to heat their homes at the time. And I was like 16. I'd only been doing this for about a year because I couldn't get a license till I was 15, and Dad wouldn't let me drive over the road until then. I've been driving since I was 5. You start young on the farm. But I was coming off this hill with a full load of coal in this rickety old International coal truck, the very one that kind of led to me being conceived. As a 47 dude like I am. But it lost its brakes. Coming off this long, steep hill called Soldier Summit there in Utah. It's about 6 mile downgrade of 6-7%. And I was about maybe half, 3/4 of a mile into that descent, geared down. You know, and you brake every so often. You bring the RPMs down. You let it build back, take your foot off, let it build back up. Then you know, you've got to be in the appropriate gear going down this hill. It's a lot of weight. It's a dangerous thing, even in dry weather. And this was dry weather, thank goodness. But son of a gun, I hit the brake pedal once and it just went to the floor. We didn't have air brakes on that one. That one had vacuum hydraulic. And I didn't know it at the time, but apparently a brake line had just busted in half, just from the vibration and the you know, the work on the road. And so there I am. I'm in 3rd and under, which is pretty low gear. That's about a top speed of maybe 20. But it wasn't long before I was out of that gear and into the next one, the next one, the next one. I mean, there was no stopping this thing. There was no emergency backup. We were like, you know, 50,000 pounds of screaming metal going down the mountain. And at the bottom of this hill, there's this swooping old turn. It's a 50-mile-an-hour turn. And the time I got there, I don't even know how I got there, to tell you the truth. What slowed that truck down? Because before I blew the engine, I just had to take it out of gear and let it freewheel. Wasn't anything else I could do. I thought about bailing early on, but then I thought about the people I might hurt, let alone myself. And I thought it was better to stay in it and ride it down. But I tell you, there was angels there. This is when, moments like this is when you become personally acquainted with them. And realize that there are forces and powers beyond what you see with these eyes. You know? Because I don't know how. You know, like I said, I went through my gears, and rather than blow the engine, you just take it when you finally run out of RPMs, when you're topped out, you take it out of gear. That's the only choice you have. And so I go flying down this mountain through all these turns and little serpentine things, and you know, and I'm heading for the bottom of that hill down through these little S-turns that lead up to that 50-mile-an-hour turn. Thank goodness there wasn't a cliff face there, because that, you know, that's what we call a widowmaker, when there's bottom of a big long steep hill and there's a cliff face there and a 50-mile-an-hour turn. That's called a widowmaker, because a lot of people don't make that turn, you know, in circumstances such as what I had at the time. These old trucks weren't near as brake-worthy as the newer ones are these days. And thank goodness for those changes. They've been good. Saved a lot of lives. I go flying off this mountain. I hit that bottom turn after I got through these S-turns. And I know I was going well in excess of 100 miles an hour, but whatever kept it that slow, I won't know. Because like I said, I was freewheeling probably the last 2 miles. maybe even more. It's quite the experience. And I hit that turn, and we didn't have power steering. You wouldn't believe the forces that were trying to pull that wheel the other way, and I just kept on. And I'm a little skinny kid, and I just kept on that thing and held her. But just, you know, it's a balance point you have to hit. It's instinct. It's pure instinct, given to you in love by angels, I'll tell you. And you just hang on, and this old truck starts to rear up on its side, and I kept that wheel in such a gentle position that it didn't go on over. Half of the load flew out of it. But as I got out of that turn and straightened out, the wheel comes down. I was alive. I didn't roll it. I didn't die. And because I couldn't stop, you know, there's still a lot of downhill, but it's a lot more gentle from there on down that canyon. And then there was a long level place going by this place called Thistle. I knew I could stop it there. But that was another 30 miles. So I just rode it down as gently as I could, kept bringing the speed down every chance I got. But I got it down there, and I got it stopped right by the little tiny D Cafe. 24 hours, baby, for all of us coal truckers, because we're up and down that canyon a lot. And parked that thing, shut her down, and just, oh man, kissed the ground I walked on. I was so glad to be alive. And I tell you guys, it's been like that off and on throughout my life. It's been challenging. I mean, I have walked the edge of life and death so much, it'd make you dizzy. Nobody would believe it. Even that story, there's people ain't going to believe it. It's beyond belief. Yet it's what happened. And many times over, different things like that in different ways, you know. And then when I was in my 40s, I hit rock bottom physically. I was a dead and goner type dude. I did do some things to try and keep myself alive. But I made it through, and that brought me back to life. And since then, my challenges with death have been a whole lot less. It's not that I don't have a close call every now and then, but it ain't nothing like it was before. Death's kind of given up on me in a way. We're going through our last little cycle right now, Death and I. Which kind of started when we came on out here to Crestone to live, you know. And that's another story I'll tell to you some other time. But it's been a challenging time again. Just to keep my feet on the ground, keep breathing. It's been a little rough physically lately, you know. Because old death is saying, well, it's time we finish this journey. And I couldn't agree with her more. Yeah, it is. But not in the way she intends, but in the way the heart intends. Babies, we're at a time in our lives where waking up is all we can do. You know, we can't take the easy way out anymore. We can't be the chicken shit. We gotta survive. We gotta thrive. This is our day. This is our hour. Human beings, each and every one of us. It's time we transition. We've been controlled. We've been occupied by entities that are not of the same nature as we. And I'm not talking about this. I've told you that story in this little video I did called Death. But we were invaded, say 100,000 years ago or so. And we've been occupied as beings ever since. This is why there's so much war and contention inside of yourself, let alone in this world. And there's those of you that are conscious of it, but most of you struggle with it. You know there's something wrong, because you shouldn't have those kind of feelings or those kind of thoughts, and there they are. So you struggle with them, you suppress them, you put them down. It causes illnesses and diseases and all kinds of things. It wears you out after a while, and that's death. But we've done this for a reason, and a very noble one. We've come to rescue our brothers and sisters who were left behind long time ago. So we come back from a more enlightened place. And most of the people alive today, this is true for. Most all of us. We've come back from the dead to be the living. Back from our own future to change things. To turn it around. To wake up before it is too late. And all this nastiness happens. We don't need this. And we're not going to be a part of it. The nastiness has come to a head already. Its day is over. The day of the non-feeling, non-caring human being is at an end. Baby, you know, I've talked about my life and what's gone on in it. Let me tell you, I felt it and I feel it, every bit of it. There's a lot of people who don't. A lot of people who hold a numbness inside so they don't have to feel. It's the only protection you can have. I know it because I've done it myself. Oh, jeez. This is bad. But we'll get through it. The numb ones. And that's probably 90% of us. But it's that 10% that still feels. It's bringing the rest of you back to life. You got to recognize how interconnected we are as human beings. And when you do, we ain't making war on anybody. And in fact, we're going to redistribute the wealth in this world so that everyone is happy and has a good life, has everything they need, everything they could want or desire, because there's more than enough here for that. And how are we going to do this? When our own government's getting ready to make war on us, when worldwide the banks are calling for the suppression of the people because the banks are failing. Money's failing, really. And we've gone into that before, too. It's time we occupy this life. Come back to life inside. Find this place. Go to death and come back to life. It ain't about dying. It's about living and feeling what you live. And letting these feelings become so preeminent in your life that they actually guide and direct you. That you feel your way through life. You become that sensitive. You know just which turn to take at any given moment in time. And you become peaceful inside. The roar inside of yourself. That which has caused you to go numb in the first place. The incredible cruelty in this world that has caused you to be that way. The shock of it wears off. And you're beginning to feel now, and that's why a lot of people are starting to panic, because they're feeling feelings they didn't even know they had. And some of these aren't too good, aren't too positive. But that's what becoming conscious is, and guess what? You don't have to give in to those nasty thoughts and feelings. You know? You can be as real as you want to be. Happiness has no boundaries. No limits on life. It does what the heart thinks it should do. And I'm not talking about the pathetic romantic heart that is so misled. I'm talking about the real one right here in the center of your chest, which is the source of all feeling. And the knowing, guidance, and awareness comes through there and comes into your consciousness here. and goes into motion. Here. Let's do this now. Let's just go deep inside. Just close our eyes and feel the center of the forehead, the palms and the hands. That's all that's really necessary to get back in touch with yourself. That's it. Anything else that comes is just icing on the cake. It's a really good thing. But you don't need any more of a formula than that. Do this. Put these palms in your lap. Let them rest there facing upward. And feel the energy in the center of your forehead and the palms of your hands. And you'll become a much calmer person. And you will begin to be able to handle the startling revelations of truth that are going on inside of you without panic. And you're going to have to release the pain sooner or later. And you might as well soften yourself up in this way to do so. Go deep within yourself and feel your heart. This one in the center of the chest. Yes, you've got this one that grieves. But you're becoming conscious of that grief, and guess what? If you're conscious of it, you can let it go. You can release it. You don't have to keep it there. It's not your burden. It's not your fault. It's a blessing. But you've taken it oppositely because of what the invaders have caused you to feel. Go inside and feel this. And notice how the pain starts to ease off. The minute you become conscious of anything, any mitigating factor inside of yourself, you've just gained the upper hand. And you've softened it, and you begin to process the process of healing it, of letting go of its effects within you, so that you can be a more truthful being. You can be present. Most people are afraid of love because of what they've had to do to get it in this life, what little they've had. See this fear and bless it. And thank it for protecting you from the illusions that could have swallowed you up. But know the solidarity of the love that you feel now at the center of your person. Feel that as though you're feeling it for the first time in your life. And you will know who you are. You will become present within yourself. Just keep doing this until that does become your reality. And then you have gained the power of the upper hand. You know how to use this force of love, which is truthfully life. Life is love, love is life. This energy that creates. You know then how to use it creatively. And you will gather in small groups in one another's homes, in places off the beaten path where others can't necessarily see you. For the moment, you gather in small groups, in circles, joining hands, sharing this energy. Join as the center of this little circle. And let it radiate and broadcast out from there to the village surrounding you, the bigger cities. And ask it to purify the atmospheres, the waters, the airs, the energies around you. And to share this state of peaceful calmness with all. And this is how you begin this journey of occupying life, of coming home to your heart, of knowing and understanding yourself, the real self, and working in conjunction with others because you are so greatly in love. You see a life that reflects yours, and yours reflected in many others, all other life. You realize the interconnectivity, and because of this, you're able to influence those who aren't quite as connected as you are just yet. But through the power of that love, you're able to project, say, to the police forces and the soldiers, the feelings of peace and healing. And then you'll be able to gather in the squares, the centers of power in these cities. And these people will be there gathering with you. And there won't be anybody hurt, no matter what the bosses say. And the bosses themselves will be getting huge heaps of this love too. And they're going to use all this incredible cleverness they have to steal from people and rob them blind and take them for everything they have, and then lock them up in prisons to boot, etc., etc., whatever. They're going to use the same cleverness to give it all back, to return the wealth to the hearts of the people who now understand and appreciate and know what a gift it is to be alive on this planet Earth at this time. To be able to live and breathe here and be surrounded by such incredible beauty. And we're going to change this world. We're going to bring natural life back into being. That is to say, a life that cares and acts upon that caring. Corruption will go out the window because there's no need to be corrupt. Why would you take when you got plenty and you love everybody and everything around you? It's a rich life, and we deserve it as people. This is our place. Together as one people, one nation, one world, with God within us. The power to create, the power to recreate. We are the generation of love. When the heart comes forward and knows its fullness, we're the ones that are here to do this. And baby, we're doing it. Occupy this life, this person that you are, with love. See that. Live it. Become it. Because that's who we are. And that's my birthday present to you all. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. I'm older than a monkey, and I kind of look like one too. Ooh, ooh. See you soon, Baboon. I love you, kids. This is great. Occupy life. I love you. Rock and roll.